Well, hey guys, it's time for us to discuss the ordinary multi-peptide serum for hair density. Hair loss and hair thinning, really common issues affecting both men and women, and it's incredibly distressing to go through. When you have something that's common and distressing, that opens the window of opportunity to sell. Now, that's not to say that everything on the market for hair loss and hair density is a complete waste of your money, a gimmick, but in this video, we're going to talk about the ingredients in this product, what they may or may not offer you, so that as a consumer, you can exercise discretion before plunking down your hard-earned money on something that may or may not help you in any way, shape, or form. One of the most common types of hair loss is androgenetic alopecia. Now, I have a lot of videos on my channel in the hair Q&A playlist all about this condition and various treatments for it, so check those out if this is something you are coping with. Androgenetic alopecia is progressive miniaturization of the hair follicle. So basically, the follicle converts from a terminal hair to a vellus hair, aka peach fuzz. This is a androgen-dependent process. Androgens are hormones that both men and women have. Testosterone. Testosterone gets converted to something called dihydrotestosterone, a more potent form of testosterone, by the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. Dihydrotestosterone binds to receptors in the hair follicle, changing around gene expression, ultimately resulting in that hair follicle converting to a vellus hair. Now, there are a lot of treatments for androgenetic alopecia to slow it down, prevent further loss of the hair, including the FDA-approved topical medication minoxidil, and for men, the FDA-approved treatment finasteride. Off-label, there are other treatments like oral minoxidil, platelet-rich plasma, spironolactone, low-level laser therapy, and once the hair loss has gotten to a point where it's quite extensive, you may or may not be a candidate for a hair transplant. These are all things that are costly. They take a lot of time and effort. They have side effects, things that people may be wanting to avoid. They may be interested in something to supplement the hair loss journey. Now, this product has a variety of trademarked ingredients. Starting out, Redensyl. This is actually several botanic-derived ingredients. It includes dihydroquercetin glucoside and epigallocatechin gallate glucoside. These are polyphenols that allegedly will target fibroblasts and hopefully help to stimulate hair regrowth. And it also contains glycine and zinc, which are required for metabolism of the hair cells. Now, I pointed this out in videos before, but the cells that grow your hair, they're some of the most rapidly dividing cells in the body. They have a high metabolic demand. Then there is Procapil, another trademark ingredient. There's actually multiple different ingredients. Oleanolic acid, which comes from olive leaves, allegedly inhibits 5-alpha reductase. I believe that is mostly based on in vitro studies, meaning cells on a dish, not actually in humans. Apigenin is a flavonoid that's extracted from citrus fruits, and it shows promise for helping to dilate blood vessels. Now, this is going to be helpful in theory for hair density and hair regrowth because it's going to hopefully bring in better blood flow to the scalp, to the follicles, to nourish them and provide them with growth factors necessary to grow healthy hair. Procapil also has a peptide which consists of 3 amino acids, glycine, histidine, and lysine. This peptide shows promise for supporting the metabolic needs of the hair cells. Capixyl is a trademark ingredient. It's actually a biomimetic peptide, acetyl tetrapeptide 3, combined with red clover extract, which is a botanic ingredient that is an isoflavone plant estrogen. So the manufacturer of this peptide has done some ex vivo tests. What is an ex vivo test? They take hair follicles from the human scalp, remove them, put them in the dish, and do studies on them. Not quite the same as in vivo, but a little bit more realistic in comparison to just cells in a dish. Their studies suggest that this peptide, in combination with red clover extract, increases collagen production, providing better extracellular matrix integrity. This is going to be important for, in theory, improving better follicle anchoring. Bicapil. This is another trademark ingredient. It's actually a combination of Scutellaria bicalensis, otherwise known as Chinese skullcap, soy, and wheat proteins. The maker of this peptide claims that it stimulates hair growth, increases hair density, and decreases hair loss. This particular trademark ingredient also has gluconolactone and lactic acid, which are ingredients that can be very moisturizing and hydrating, and in theory may actually help in enhancing the penetration of this ingredient. Anagain is another ingredient. Anagain sounds like something that a bodybuilder might abuse to put on muscle mass. Based on the sprouts of organic peas, the claim here is that it's going to decrease hair loss by stimulating cells in what is called the dermal papilla to regrow the hair, essentially. But the way they back up that claim is based on studies that they have done on plucked hairs that they did what's called a DNA microarray on. So whether or not it actually ends up leading to decrease in hair loss in you, I would say the main ingredient in this serum that shows the most promise, in my opinion, is the caffeine. They call it high solubility caffeine. Now, caffeine, there is some research to suggest that it may actually be pretty effective for helping improve hair density. One of the main issues with any ingredient in these types of serums is like, how likely is it to get into the hair follicle down to where it needs to be? Caffeine actually has pretty good penetration into the hair follicle. And there is evidence to support that caffeine applied to the scalp may actually counteract the negative impacts of testosterone on the hair follicle. In vivo studies, meaning actual people, show that it actually has immediate follicular availability, so it penetrates into the hair follicle pretty readily. In addition to the follicular route, though, it also shows transdermal penetration. And one interesting thing about that is that it almost provides a reservoir of caffeine right there in the scalp. These studies also show that applying caffeine to the scalp, not only does it have immediate availability, but it remains there in the scalp for up to 24 hours. Now, the research studies that we have on topical caffeine, they exist, they're good. They're not the best. However, we need more studies. We have a few clinical studies with topical caffeine. They include randomized controlled trials, single-arm studies, and parallel trials. They're done in both men and women. The studies show that a combination of minoxidil, which as a reminder is an FDA-approved topical treatment for androgenetic alopecia, the combination of minoxidil plus caffeine is better than minoxidil alone for decreasing hair shedding. Now, if you've ever used topical minoxidil, as a word of warning, if you aren't familiar with it, it does actually in the beginning increase shedding, but with consistent use, the hair follicles switch over to the growing phase, and that is when you experience increase in hair growth. So whether or not the caffeine just minimizes the shedding period, it's not clear. Again, more research is needed, but the studies that we do have suggest not only does it have good penetration into the scalp, it's inexpensive. Importantly, there don't appear to be any adverse events associated with topical caffeine to the scalp. Caffeine is thought to work by inhibiting phosphodiesterase, an enzyme. This leads to a series of events that basically increases oxidation of fats, known as lipolysis, basically providing more energy to the follicle. So these are the ingredients in this product. Now, of everything that we just talked about and explained how it may or may not work, I would say the ingredient that shows the most promise, the most research, although more research is definitely needed, is going to be caffeine. The other trademarked ingredients, we're relying on industry studies that are not the best. As a reminder, this is a cosmetic, it's not a medication, it's not a drug. For that reason, we're kind of operating just on good faith, like let's try it out and see what happens. The things that we just talked about, these are largely manufacturer claims. People who make these peptides, these trademark ingredients, this is what they're claiming based on their studies that they have done, which again, are limited, not the best, not the most well-controlled, and industry-sponsored. But what does the ordinary claim that this product is going to do? They don't make the same claims as the manufacturer, which I think is good. They basically claim that this product is designed to support the scalp and give you thicker, denser, fuller-looking hair. So they're not making drug claims about this product. They're basically saying that this may improve the look of hair thickness. They don't make any claims around hair growth. I think that's good because honestly, the research to support these ingredients for hair growth is pretty limited. To use this, you just massage a few drops into a clean, dry scalp. I've used this myself actually several months consistently, and I'll tell you how I used it. After I get out of the shower, I shampoo my scalp every day as a side note. After I get out of the shower, I use a microfiber towel that removes like 99% of the water from my hair. My hair strands are still a bit damp, but my scalp is completely dry, and then I just massaged a few drops into the scalp at bedtime. For me personally, I did not experience any change in hair density, hair thickness. My hair looked exactly the same, but one thing you need to know about me, especially if you're new to my channel, is for several years now, I have been using low-level laser therapy, a low-level laser therapy device by iRestore. I still actively use their product. I have been using it for many years, and I have always seen results. During my trial with the Ordinary Hair Serum, I did not stop using that. So whether or not the results that I have gotten with that particular device, whether or not I could get similar results with this, I am skeptical, but I do need to point that out to you. In terms of the aesthetics, the feel, how I liked this product. Honestly, I really did not enjoy using it. I found that it made my hair appear very greasy. A lot of that could also be just because of my hair. The other thing you need to know about me is that I don't have hair loss. I don't have androgenetic alopecia. I don't have telogen effluvium. I don't have any active hair loss disorder. The reason I tried the low-level laser therapy device is I just wanted to see, was it gonna improve my hair thickness and density, and it did, and I have continued to use it. I'm skeptical though that the results that I got with that, I could get with this alone. This didn't add anything, so for me personally, it's not something that I would ever continue to use on an ongoing basis. But that's not to say that you may not see some benefit from using this. Again, the caffeine in this is probably one of the more evidence-based ingredients. The other thing that I think is interesting about these serums is that you massage them into the scalp. There's something to be said about scalp massage. I think it's something that it needs more research, but as you're massaging the scalp, you're improving blood flow. That combined with the caffeine in this, I think actually could potentially help you in getting just maybe a healthier hair follicle in theory, given what we know about how well caffeine penetrates. But for me personally, I found this product to be a little bit messy. It did leave a residue on my hair strands that made them look kind of greasy. I did not care for that. I noticed that residue developing after 1 week of using it. I continued to use it though, but I was a little bit more conservative with the volume that I used because of the effects that it had in terms of the appearance of my hair that I did not care for, just the product being kind of greasy. I would suggest if you do have thinning in certain areas to just use it in those areas to see if it benefits you, if you're interested in giving this a try. Now, this is not the kind of thing that you are going to see results overnight. When it comes to hair, you're not going to see results overnight with anything. It takes at least 3 months for you to see any sort of change. I have used this consistently for over 3 months. I saw no change. You could argue maybe you need to use it longer, fair enough, but given how it looked on my hair, I just was not motivated to continue using it. It's free of fragrance, it's not irritating. If you do have more patchy areas of significant thinning, you may find that it actually ends up moisturizing your scalp. And you may like that aspect of it. For me, it ends up mostly on my hair strands, leading to the appearance of greasy hair. And so I think because of my hair density at baseline, it's harder for it to deposit into the scalp well. This product is $21.70 for 60 ml. It could last you up to a year, I would say, because you really don't need very much. Like I've used it for over 3 months, a little over 3 months, and I barely made a dent in it because you really don't need much at all. So I think it's a pretty good value. So is this product worth it? Here's the thing. I don't have a lot of faith in these different trademark ingredients like the red clover thing because they're all, more research is needed on these ingredients, but I do think caffeine shows promise for some people with hair thinning, just for improving the nutrient delivery, if you will, to that high metabolic demand hair follicle. And it could help, in theory, with improving the health of the hair follicle. So I think if you're someone who is motivated to introduce a caffeine serum to the scalp, this is a reasonable option. Don't expect a miracle, however. Don't get your hopes up too high. I think when it comes to hair loss, like I said, it's very distressing. Don't get your hopes up too high with any cosmetic product. Now, in this video, I talked a lot about androgenetic alopecia being very common, but another common type of hair shedding is telogen effluvium. Caffeine shows promise for reducing shedding with telogen effluvium. So if you're going through that and the cause of telogen effluvium has been addressed and you're just waiting to get your hair back on track, I think this is a reasonable option to introduce. Maybe in theory, it can help reduce the shedding phase for you, but I want to make it clear this hasn't been studied in that regard. So again, don't get your hopes up too high. But I do think, if it's something that you are interested in, it may be reasonable to pursue. All right, you guys, that's everything I wanted to chat with you about regarding this hair serum. Let me know in the comments, though, if you have given it a try. What was your experience with it? I really want to hear from you guys because everyone responds to things differently, and I really want to know, did anyone get results who tried this out? Did it improve anyone's hair density as it claims it might? Let me know in the comments, but if you guys want to hear more about some of the Ordinary skincare products, I recently reviewed a lot of their newer products, and I'm going to link that video on the end slate, so check that one out next if you're interested. For example, their multi-peptide eye serum we talk about in that video, so watch that one next if that is of interest to you. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!